Hello, this is the TradeSight Forex Market Preview and Economic Data Roadmap for the international markets for the week beginning Sunday, September 8th, 2013, ending Friday the 13th. That's right, Friday the 13th. Hope you're having a good trading week. As usual, charts brought to you by the astounding eSignal 11 package. Let's take a look at the dollar index to start, then we'll look at some of the individual pairs and how they traded this last week. Then we'll look at the economic data that's going to be due and coming out in the week ahead. So if we take a look here at the dollar index, you can see we're back up to a pure, what I would call neutral reading. And what I mean by that is we are nowhere compared to where we were even back here in March. Look at this, March's activity, April's activity, kind of swinging a little wider each time, but still right there in that area. So it's been 6 months now in this pretty narrow range. Had some good area, some good periods and some bad ones. August was poor as expected. We still had gains in August, and we're still half size because of it, but things are starting to move maybe a little bit. We had some action this week. We'll see what it turns into. Keep in mind that we could easily get a 13 seeker sell signal. We will have to be below this bar 8, so it'll have to be under 81, but a move down there would give us a sell signal, and I was looking for a buy signal. I was looking for a 13 buy signal, hopefully down by this red static trend line. So if we do head down, we could get it right near that level and then probably get yet another bounce off of there. Hard to believe we're going to break through that area with a 13 buy signal in place. So we'll be watching that. You'll notice that it looks like we're 7 bars up, but we're not. If I go to projection mode, the count is now erased based on the close of today. So we have no new setup phase count in play right now. Let's take a look at the euro dollar. We'll also look at the pound. So the euro had run into a green static trend line up here, got to 11 bars up. Rolled over, and now is back into the neutral area as you would expect with the dollar index doing that. Here's the interesting one. The pound did the same, pulled back, but it's actually got a cup and handle formation. Now here's where the battle comes in. You've got the green static trend line as the wall. Matter of fact, you see we ran into it so precisely right here. That's pretty amazing. Remember, that wasn't the high from back here. It was the high of this bar, not the high of the period. So it's interesting to run into it so precisely. But from this point forward, okay, we are easily, another bar up will give us a 12 on the seeker, and the next one will give us a 13. Meanwhile, there's a cup and handle formation here. So which is going to win? Are we going to get the 13 sell signal and roll over? Or we're going to get the breakout. Again, you can get a 13 sell signal before you get above this breakout area and still roll to the downside. But it's going to be an interesting point whether the chart construction, which is bullish, wins out over the seeker sell signal when it comes into play, which is going to happen if we start to tick up for even just 2 days in a row. So we'll be watching that intently, obviously. Here's a look at the euro dollar and 30-minute bars going back this week, and yeah, you can see a lot of flatness, right? Obviously, Monday was the holiday, Labor Day holiday here in the U.S. Tuesday into Wednesday, pretty flat. Little spike on news, retraced, big spike down. Thursday, big spike back up on Friday. Closed the week about where we started. A lot of flat spaces in there, except for when we have the news moves. So I wouldn't call that anything particularly exciting. Here's the pound dollar, which had 150 pips of range for the entire week. That's often the average for the day. So to see that for an entire week is not overly impressive. And again, a lot of flat periods and just news spikes, not really market movement. By the way, the whole range on the euro dollar for the week was 120 pips max. So again, we're still not seeing a huge pickup in activity, which is why we haven't gone back to full size, but that often happens sometime in September, and once it does, we'll be ready to roll from that perspective. We just haven't seen it yet, so no reason to jump in heavy until that happens. Here's a look at the Aussie dollar, which traded a little bit better, a couple hundred pips of range, but again, a lot of it flat Wednesday all the way into Friday, pretty much just dead sideways. All right, let's take a look at the global economic data that's coming out this week. Starting on Sunday, we've got Overseas Trade Index out of New Zealand, AIG Manufacturing Index out of Australia, Capital Spending out of Japan, Building Approvals out of Australia. Heading into Monday, Commodity Prices out of Australia, Spanish, Italian, and all of Europe Manufacturing PMI, and then the UK PMI. I am so sorry, we are on the wrong week. Let me move up one. I forgot to adjust to the next week's trade. There you go. All right. So again, let's start that over. Sunday, New Zealand manufacturing sales, Japan current account, final GDP, and bank lending, home loans out of Australia, China's CPI, PPI, trade balance, new loans, and M2 money supply. They sure roll that out all at once, don't they? Consumer confidence out of Japan, Switzerland's unemployment rate, economy watchers sentiment out of Japan, retail sales out of Switzerland, Centex investor confidence out of Europe, building permits out of Canada in the morning, Monday morning, no data out of the U.S. until 3 p.m. Eastern Time, consumer credit in the afternoon. We've got monetary policy meeting minutes out of Japan that night. It's Monday night, along with M2 money stock. 30-year bond auction out of Japan. Fixed asset investment out of China, industrial production and retail sales. So China's busy this week putting out data. Preliminary machine tool orders out of Japan. French industrial production. The UK's got the Bank of E credit conditions survey. Housing starts out of Canada Tuesday morning. U.S. JOLTS job openings, not a major number. CGPI out of Japan. So none of these are major numbers that we would look to avoid or go half size ahead of. German final CPI, French non-farm payrolls, UK's unemployment rate at 4:30 a.m. Eastern Time Wednesday morning, 10-year bond auction out of Germany, wholesale inventories out of the U.S. We've got New Zealand's got a rate announcement, Bank of New Zealand. We've got employment and unemployment data out of Australia, core machinery orders out of Japan. That's all Wednesday evening here in the U.S. German WPI, French CPI, Italian industrial production, along with the broad European industrial production. 10-year bond auction out of the UK. Then U.S. finally, the unemployment data, that's a weekly number, 8:30 a.m. along with import prices. Natty gas that day, 30-year bond auction. You got the Fed budget balance, FPI New Zealand Thursday night, and then as we go into Friday, revised industrial production out of Japan, PPI out of Switzerland, trade balance out of Europe, employment change out of Europe, along with the ECOFIN meetings, Eurogroup meetings, capacity utilization rate out of Canada Friday morning, and then we're releasing retail sales PPI, core PPI, and Michigan sentiment data. That's for here in the U.S., and then business inventories. None of our big three, no Fed meetings, no GDP numbers to worry about. So it is a straightforward trading week. We will still be half size because the ranges aren't that strong, but we will be calling it as we see it. We hope to see you in the lab. Have a great trading week.